It's like mirrored. Okay, there. Hello, everyone. We're going to do a video to recap the community conversations from tonight, and we talked about coping mechanisms. And this is Amanda from Zion, and she was one of the she presented to us tonight as we recognized that while we had tons of good ideas for coping, we also recognize that sometimes we don't cope well, and sometimes that is a contributing factor to substance use disorders. And so we learned a bit about those tonight. But I'm pulling up here on my phone a picture that I'll share in the comments. But we made a list of ways that we cope when we're angry, when we're stressed, when we're sad, and when we're experiencing unknowns or when we don't know what's going to happen. And so there were lots of ways, like some people cope well with breathing or taking a walk, singing or listening to certain music, crying, spending time with their pets, spending time with their friends, praying, working out, art. There are a whole bunch of different ways. But then we got kind of into a bit of a deeper conversation, and we're like, well, what's it even mean to cope? And we talked about coping, especially as we talk about difficult times, and in particular, the Greenfield with the tornado, that we have all dealt with anger, stress, sadness, and unknowns, and particularly people who were their homes were impacted by the storm. And so it came up that coping is being able to tell your story and have people hear your story is an important way to cope, because that allows you to be honest about what really happened and for people to connect with you about that. And so that can help people gain perspective, and that's an important part of coping. And so coping includes managing what we're experiencing, but also recognizing that we'll find a way through whatever the trouble is, and that resiliency, and we'll be able to grow. And so we really expanded the word cope to mean all of those different things. So like I said, I will share the handout that we had, which was from the Cleveland Clinic, about coping mechanisms, and I'll share the picture of the ideas that people wrote about how they cope, and I will let Amanda talk now and give us some information about substance use disorders.
Yeah, so what I kind of talked about tonight was I tried to bring it into coping. There's lots of different drugs. There's lots of different reasons people use drugs. So we kind of talked about some of those. In the way people do cope by, self-medicating, things like that. We also discussed how a lot of times mental health disorders can go hand in hand with substance use disorders and vice versa. But then we kind of talked about opioids or painkillers. So we talked about how people can start using opioids. People can get addicted to opioids, whether it be a prescription or if they're just buying it on the streets. Then we talked about ways to help in an opioid overdose. I talked a lot about harm reduction strategies. So we picture Narcan as a harm reduction strategy so that people can, maybe if they're using opioids and they overdose, we can help save their life till hopefully they can get into recovery. So we talked about Narcan as kind of like a fire extinguisher. If you want to have one in your house, or everyone should have one in their house, hopefully you never have to use it, but it's there in case you do need it. So we talked about how accidents happen. People overdose, maybe if like a grandma has an opioid at their house and they drop it, maybe their 4-year-old grandson picks it up and takes it on accident thinking it's candy. Accidents happen. So that's why we talk about having Narcan in everybody's house. There are a few different videos out there that I will send links to as well to show you how to use Narcan and the signs that you will see in that opioid overdose. So those are the sorts of things, and brought some resources.
So this is what Narcan looks like, but in the package, it comes in like a foil pack, and you just tear this off here at the corner, and then you put this in the person's nose, and then this is the plunger, and you push that. Boxes like this or similar in Greenfield, they're up on the square at the just outside the Zion office. They've repurposed like newspaper distribution containers, and so they now have Narcan, and you don't have to. They're free. You pick them up, and so that you can have one in your house or in your car or both, so that if you come upon a situation where you can save someone's life, give them Narcan, call 911. And perhaps do breathing with CPR if you're trained and comfortable. Yeah, see?
Yeah.
I was listening.
It is important to know, I didn't mention this, it is important to know that you can't hurt anybody in a situation if it is not an overdose.
Right.
So if you come upon a medical emergency and you do not know what is going on, you cannot hurt the person by giving them Narcan, no matter what the emergency is. If you give it to someone like myself that's just sitting here, it's not going to do anything to me unless you've taken an opioid. So that's where it's important to know nothing can get hurt just from administering Narcan. So we say to try to always give Narcan, and if you don't know what is going on for sure.
Right. So, and we'll have a link to the video in the comments or whatever the little field is called underneath this video. Mark your calendars. We're going to be doing community conversations on the 21st each month. And next month's topic is gratitude. And we're going to have special speakers here from Minnesota, a teenage boy who is the recipient of a new heart. He recently recovering from a heart transplant, and he and his mom are going to be here and talk with us about gratitude. And we also are just going to make a list of all the things we're grateful for, because a great coping mechanism for any time that you're experiencing trouble seems to be being thankful. And so we'll practice that gratitude together. So, all right, leave any comments or questions that you have, or contact me at the United Methodist Church or Whitney Lewis or other members of Adair County Healthy Connections. And we'll see you next month, the 21st, 6 o'clock. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome.